Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. Today we are with our guest,
Lorna Vasquez.
Yes, she studied abroad in Spain and in Japan. Previously we made a video where I interviewed some people about where they studied abroad. We did one on Spain, I talked about Japan. So it's really great that she was able to make it and want to make this video with us because we get to explore kind of both countries more head to head since she experienced both of them. So let's dive into it. So, for the first question that I kind of have for you was, why did you end up doing two places? Usually people pick one,
So, I just really love culture and like learning about the different cultures. I'm actually an international business major.
Okay.
I know that I'm going to have to study abroad at least once. And I was like, this way I could do multiple things because I was like, they're going to cater to me learning about different cultures because I'm an international business major.
Absolutely.
How I did it? It was the planning aspect because I was thinking that it was going to be so easy because I was like, okay, I'm going to be taking international classes. I'm an international business major, whatever. I was like, this should be able to cover it. But then eventually I was like, there were things that just weren't converting over. Like the hours weren't converting over. The units weren't converting over. I'm trying to get out in 4 years.
Yeah.
And eventually it just wasn't working as well as I thought. So definitely just planning beforehand. That changed my experience. Like, if I didn't plan beforehand, I don't think I would have been able to make it to Japan.
You really have to think long term because like when I studied abroad my last year and I had to think like 2 years in the future, basically take classes that I couldn't transfer over for example. And you studied abroad your third year?
Yes.
And so you came back for your last year, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think that made it maybe a little bit easier because like you could still take your capstone like final classes this year, right?
I actually took that in Japan. Because,
oh, what? Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Whatchamacallit? So once you're abroad, supposedly, like the rules and like the time periods that you can take things, they bend. Like eventually, like oh, you're abroad, you just have to take these classes because you do have like some time, like a cushion, for these to like transfer over.
Okay.
And eventually, I took my capstone over there in Japan because I was taking management classes in Japan. And eventually, they were like, "Oh, if you take these two classes, this will add up to your senior setting capstone."
Oh, cool.
And ask questions. Asking the questions thing that I brought up earlier. Whatchamacallit? If you don't ask questions, don't be afraid to be that stupid person asking like, "How do I do this?" Or reaching out just to someone that did prior, because I definitely reached out to David before going to Japan.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay.
Literally, I was just like, I would watch your videos. I would just like learn about this. I was like, okay, Japan is something I do want to experience. This is something that I feel like I could do. And so I was like, okay, let's try. And yeah,
So, well, how was it like living in those two very different countries?
It was. Okay, so I actually had two very different experiences because in Barcelona I was living in a flat, and then in Japan I was living with a host family. Just living with a flat, I would say just as my living experiences, the flat made such a huge difference. Like, I actually originally went with my mom and dad because whole different country. They were real. My mom's a tiger mom. She's the Filipino one, and she's like, "Hey, let me come with you. I want to make sure that you're not going to be stolen because it's taken." And we watched that right before we left, and I kind of shot myself in the foot with watching that.
Yeah.
But so I went there with them, and then after just moving in with the flat and like settling in, it was great to be around people that and other students that were experiencing the same thing as me. Like they were all from different countries, just coming in to visit and just saying like wanting to be social, wanting to know about other people and stuff like that. And so eventually, it was this huge flat. Think of like a whole floor cut into two, one room and then one apartment and then one apartment. Just living with them like really helped. And like it was on Gran Via. It's like one of the huge streets in Barcelona, and it was just when I went out to like the balcony, because almost every place has like something to a balcony. It was like a dream. Oh my gosh. And the community that I got, oh my god. I still keep in contact with them.
Oh good.
There's one girl, she like, well actually these two girls, they made my experience, and I feel like they were like the people that definitely changed my experience like living in Barcelona. Because I've definitely heard from other people that like, oh, we didn't quite get that experience, like, oh, or like we weren't quite going out as much, or I'm kind of homesick. I was like, I didn't have time to be homesick.
Yeah.
because of how often they were like, you want to go do this, you guys want to do that, and they were European girls, and eventually they were used to it, like just living over, just being in Europe. Like in Europe, it's really supportive that they want you to go abroad. They want you to learn about these different cultures because you're surrounded by different cultures.
Absolutely. And what about Japan? Like, what was your living situation there?
Oh, okay. So that one, I was living with a host family.
Okay.
And basically how it turned out for like my host family was that they set it up for us. So it's like Kansai Gakuen, the school that I went to, they were like, okay, where do you want to live? Do you want to live in a dorm, or do you want to live with a host family? If you wanted to live with a host family, you had to apply. And eventually, so you had to put out like your likes, your dislikes, and stuff like that. And then after, you would have to write a statement and then send that in to see how it's going to go. And then after, it's like, I luckily got accepted. I really wanted to live with a host family just because I wanted to learn about the different culture and like see it firsthand from like
More intimate.
Yes. And eventually I was like, okay, like if I go there, I had a host sister. Well, not host sister, international sister when I was younger. And I was like, I know how much fun I had with her. And I was like, I want to kind of see how it is. I was like, how are they going to treat me if I go over there?
Yeah. We talked about a little bit about your experience living in Japan and Spain.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see your perspective on what were some of your likes, some of your dislikes in Spain.
So in Spain, I would say, okay, let's start off with the pros. Just start off on a positive note. I really loved how easy it was to get around, how easy, like, I don't know, they really support travel in Spain. I was like, just in Europe. And then eventually it was easy to go from one country to another country, whether it be train, whether it be bus, whether it be like Ryanair, shout out, I'm kidding.
Cheap flights.
Hey, I was just
Gets you to point A to point B.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whether it be like kind of scary or not. Some dirtiness, it's okay. I was like, as long as you don't mind. One other thing I love is the nightlife. So I'm a complete night owl. Let's just start off with that.
Okay.
And eventually, so I can easily stay up till like 4 or 5 in the morning. It's really bad.
Damn, that's the time I wake up. Shit. Okay. I mean, I can't cuss. Never mind.
It's okay.
Alright, cool, damn.
But it's like they still have like buses. So the thing is that the train closes, and after the train closes, that's when you just ride buses, right? So eventually, what happened was that like if you go clubbing with your friends, and especially the drinking age 18, when I went there, I was still 20, so
take advantage.
exactly. And so I was enjoying my time there. Let's see what was going on, and it's just like the first train I believe was at 6.
Okay.
But the thing is that like I don't know how to explain. So this was the timeline of my nightlife. So you know how like over here in the States you start pre-gaming at like 9, 10?
Yes.
And then after you go out by 11, you're back by like 1, 2, maybe 3 if you stay till everything closed. Like it was shut down by the cops. And then eventually over there, you're like you're getting ready at 10. Like girls are starting like putting on their makeup, they're getting ready with their outfits and everything. They start pre-gaming at like 12. Leave, so it starts picking up. The clubs start picking up by 1 a.m.
Damn, that's hella late. I mean, when I was in Barcelona, I went out for a night, and it's exactly what you say. Like it didn't like get kind of full until like 1, 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm just like, damn, I'm hella tired. Like all these kids, and because the drinking age is 18. Half the people in the fucking club, half the people in the club were like 18 years old. I'm just like,
literally.
Y'all are hella young. It was a little weird.
I don't judge you at all because I'm like looking around. I'm just like, how are your parents letting you out this late at night? I'm just like, wow. I can't fathom.
So it seems like there was a lot to like in Spain, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
What were some of the things you maybe disliked?
So actually, one thing. Okay.
Full disclosure, maybe it's not the same for everybody.
Yes.
This is just what you experienced, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
So I relatively felt like some backlash on international people, but it wasn't because like from the international people, it was more from the Spanish people. And like if you weren't Spanish, they could tell in an instant, like, that you were someone else. And, like, they don't really quite, well, at least from what I've realized or I've seen is that they don't quite like as many, like, international people because we are upping the prices. And we're, like, kind of, like, when we get, like, a whole bunch of tourists, we're like, oh my gosh, what are these people doing here? But just for them, it's probably to an extreme because, like, of how much they're paying because of us.
That's true.
And then eventually, but definitely that was something I did not like, especially this is my first experience, like, by myself, like, abroad.
Yeah.
And I definitely felt it, and I'm like, I come from a small town named Tracy, and everyone there is basically, hey, how are you? Not even like, that might be a little, like, overboard, but it's like, everybody's just, like, looks at you, and if you smile, like, people will smile you back, you know? And eventually it's just like, it's still not like that big city vibe yet.
Yeah.
And over there, people like will look at you, and if you smile at them, they're like, like, there's something wrong, there's something like not there.
I'm just gonna throw in my 2 cents here just to give some background to make sure you know they should making it up or whatever. I was in Barcelona like maybe a month ago or something, and I was just minding my business, like on the sidewalk looking at a menu for a place to eat. I was being respectful of the space. There was this old lady walking by, and she goes like pushes me. She's like, "Move," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "What?" So I can definitely see what you're saying is grounded on facts. I think. Yeah, in facts. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm not alone.
No.
But
what other? Is there anything else that maybe comes to mind as far as dislikes?
for dislikes, I would, to be honest, I would say just that. Also, probably, it's not even just kind of guarded. It's not that you have to be super guarded, you just have to be aware of your surroundings, because that's also something, sometimes I like to be just like, have that like, I'm in another country, and you kind of just get to experience it like that way.
Yeah.
In which you're like, okay, just like chilling out, thinking, like not really thinking about things, but because of the pickpocketers, it's like, it's a big thing, but it's, the way people talk about it is not that huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like people are just like, be careful, like, da, 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 da. It's just like they're giving you all these little instances in which it can happen, because it's like clockwork. Like they know what to do and like how to do it very easily.
What were some of the likes that you had about Japan?
So some of the likes that I had. Okay, when I first stepped off the airplane, I was kind of afraid, to be honest, because of how small and like cramped everything is. I was like, especially for landing in Osaka, one of the major cities in Japan, I was like, why is this airport so small? And eventually I was like, okay, if it's this small, I was like, how big is everything else gonna be? And then I walked out. Everything was a dream. Like everything matched up to like a T. Like in all the mangas and animes I've read. So each time I mention it, I'm just like, ee, because it's still like, well, I don't know. We'll get over that in a different section. But like just the way it was, like, not the smell, I guess, but I was like, it smelled clean. Oh my gosh, I was like, especially for this being like a major city, I was like, why does it smell so clean? I was confused because that just, I expected it to smell like pee and poo and stuff like that.
Like San Francisco.
Basically.
San Francisco's hella nasty,
Exactly. And I was like, why don't people come here? Why don't people want to come here? I was like, SF is nasty. And I was like, the cleanliness, the way it looked, like, if you just compared it to like what like you saw in like animes and mangas, I was like, it's there, like the wires that are over there, like just the cable lines, and then the little walls, the moss that's growing on the walls, the street, just everything. It was just beautiful. And then when I saw it, I was like, it's just, I don't know, it just kind of lived up to like expectations and just made me so happy that like I went there and I was like, my little girl dream is all grown up. I'm like, wow, I'm experiencing it. But
good. I'm glad that it lived up to expectations, because sometimes we have high expectations for places and it doesn't live up to it quite. It kind of ruins the dream. So I'm glad that, you know, it fulfilled like what you had in your mind and stuff.
Definitely.
So what about the food? Is that one of your likes?
I watched this anime when I was younger. It's called Ramen One Half. There's this girl in it that she helps out her family, makes okonomiyaki, and then that's always just been something I've always wanted to try. I was like, I'm gonna make okonomiyaki. I don't eat condiments, and I was getting kind of worried because I was like, there's a whole bunch of
condiments.
exactly,
Yeah.
and there's like there's a whole bunch of other things that I'm just like, I don't know if I would like this. And it was just ridiculous. It's amazing. I would say it's the best in just like Osaka and just the Kansai area.
What were some other things that you really liked?
How efficient everything was. That's something I really liked. I was like, everything. I wake up late. I told you guys earlier that I can go to sleep by 4 to 5, meaning that like if I have to wake up earlier, like something different. I don't know if this was the same for you. I had like a set schedule. So
as in like for class?
there were periods. Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah,
there were periods.
Yeah, there was like 8 periods for us, I think.
Okay. I was like, I don't remember exactly.
And then like a set time for lunch that everybody
Yes,
had?
yeah.
Yeah, that was different for sure, especially in a college
amazing.
setting. We don't have that here. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I don't know.
No, I really liked it. No, I really liked it. Yeah.
I was like, this forces me to eat and stuff like that. So eventually I was like, let's go. I was like, before I used to be like, I'm so hungry. And eventually I would sneak a carrot. Yeah, exactly.
But now they dedicate this full hour for you to, go to convenience store maybe?
Yeah.
Was that another one that you liked?
Yeah, that's what I was. I was like, how efficient and how convenient everything was. I was like, there were stops, there were bus stops and stuff like that, and you could just like walk. You could walk to almost everything. And another thing I also loved was how safe I felt. Was how safe I felt within like just Japan and Spain. Even though people like talk about like trafficking in Spain, and then like just Japan was ridiculous. I have no sense of danger already. Let's just say that. Actually, it's just not. I'm not on guard as much.
Okay.
Right.
Fair.
And then eventually, when I went to like Spain, I was like, it's relatively lower. And then eventually, when I went to Japan, it was just
kind of goes away.
Gone. I was just like, I was walking in like small little alleys. I was like, wow, what the heck? I feel like no one's gonna attack me. I was like, no one's gonna pickpocket me. There's like. My mom, she left a tip, and you know how that's not really custom there.
Yes.
And eventually, there's a lady that came out like with the money. She was like, "Here, you left your money."
Damn, yeah, they're like that.
Exactly.
It's beautiful.
And that's where like, it was just kind of ridiculous. I was like, "Wow, I feel so safe here." I was like, it's kind of like eye-opening as to how bad it can be sometimes, like in other countries. But it's just like. I appreciated it and I enjoyed that, like I got to see that difference.
Yeah. So what about some of the things you maybe disliked about Japan?
Okay. So about disliking about Japan, it was probably different from you. Like I enjoyed like the younger generation, they were very open to international students and like stuff like that and learning about the different cultures. But then I realized like with some of the older people, like I wasn't as accepted. Like I could see the stares. Like, if I wore like shorts that were slightly a little bit shorter, I was like, I didn't even bring like the classic shorts that a lot of girls here wear in California. Like just the booty shorts and stuff like that. Like if I wore like shorts that were like up like mid length to my thigh, like I consider that pretty long. Like considering most girls
compared to others, yeah.
And eventually, like, people still look at me like, what is she wearing and stuff like that. And, like, I understand, like, it's different cultures, and that was, like, a huge, like, like, just, like, being looked at funny just because of, like, something I wear or, like, the way, like, I hold myself. Like, also just having curly hair, like, I would be fully covered, and just, like, the way I look, people will look. And, of course, like, if someone looks different, people will stare. Yeah. It's just, because we're in California, like, we see so many different cultures and stuff like that. Yeah. And then just going to such a homogeneous like country, it's just I didn't like being stared at. Okay. This like right before because eventually I was like, oh wait, I was like, it also like what I'm thinking is also like being a guy and a girl. There's two differences, especially being in Japan.
So what's some stuff that you would recommend to people who want to study abroad in Spain or Japan or anywhere in the world in general?
In all honesty, I would say literally just do it. Like once you buy that plane ticket, once you buy, like it's not even getting the hotel, it's buying the plane ticket. I feel like that's the biggest jump, but once you have that, you're like, okay, well I bought this plane ticket, now what am I gonna do? Like it kind of just, you follow through, like even though like there's like other factors, if you're young, take that risk while you can. because once you get older, you're stuck, like, you might get tied down, like, not even like intentionally, like, for say once you start thinking about the loans, you start thinking about everything like beforehand. Like, yes, you might have to plan out beforehand to like study abroad or just go abroad. Like, yes, you'll have to plan out for that. But it's like a lot of people stop because like, no, what about my career? What about this? What about that? But it's like, you're going to gain all these experiences from studying abroad. Yeah, and don't be afraid to explore.
That's a big one.
Yeah, I was like, definitely, I felt nervous trying to go around every place, like, just not everywhere, just like to different places, and it just felt like, oh, I'm in like this different place. You're gonna look like a foreigner anyways, like, just kind of own it,
embrace it.
Exactly. I was like, if you find other foreigners, like, there's gonna be someone that's been there for a while that'll know the language, and then they'll be able to help you. And then once you find like that one like native that'll be willing to like take you around, like, that's where it all changes.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time and speaking to me. I learned a lot, and hopefully, and I know the people viewing this definitely learned a lot too. I think it's really cool to kind of have you in particular talk, because you know, you were in two very different places, and how you did that's a very unique path. So for anyone considering that, it's definitely doable, as you can see. So hopefully you guys learned something. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe this video at the vlog. And yeah, share this video if you guys really liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you want some more content like this. See you guys.
Bye.
Sayonara.